happen. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. My neighbors compete to see who can put up more blinding lights. The kids all wish away the month 'cause they want presents in sight. This year had me so mad, I've been bad, got coal that is sitting under my tree. I think that my Christmas has died. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. When I was just a boy, Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome everyone to All In with John and Ed.
Hello.
Little bit
I'm
of
back.
a little bit of a different start since it's getting near Christmas.
Oh, God, you're just another of those Christmas wankers, aren't you? Have you put your tree up already?
No, not yet. Don't have a tree.
Oh dear.
Skint. Right. So how's the levels, people? Could you give me some levels? Ed, talk.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, did they stick it to me straight away? Do you see that? You know,
Well,
like-
that's why we called them the troll room.
yeah, I know. Like Paul, straight in there. Great to see Ed back. Yeah.
The levels could be perfect, and someone would still tell you that they weren't.
No, but it's not the levels. It's like Paul just comes in with great to see Ed back. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Oh, John sounds hey. I'm not quite sure what that means. Oh, thank you, Ray. Thank you, Ray. Oh, thank you, Paul. It's a bit late after I pointed it out, mate. But anyway, right. What are we going to talk about? We've got so much to talk about. There's so much to catch up on. Oh, jeez, man! My head is bursting. It's absolutely bursting.
Well, I mean, for me, probably the most significant thing that's happened, certainly in the last week, was Oreshnik.
Yeah.
And I mean, because that changes the rules of the game. It's like you're playing chess, and then suddenly someone pulls out this shiny new piece that basically does everything, and you have no defense for it, and they can hit you, and it's completely legal because it's not a nuclear weapon, so there's no treaty violation, there's no radiation to worry about, no nuclear winter, and whatever you target with is going to die.
But you also know why there's no treaty violation.
Oh yeah, that's because of thanks to El Trumpo.
Yeah,
because
the last
of
time
out the INF Treaty.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the
People
problem too.
people forget these things and think, oh,
Yeah.
Trump is our savior. Yeah, well,
Oh no,
Trump's brought Oreshnik to us. Hey,
absolutely.
just in time for Christmas.
Yeah, well, it's easily two of the dumbest things the United States has done in the last 20 years was pull out of the INF treaty and the other one, the strategic arms. No, it's not that one. That one's still
No.
active. There was another one that they pulled out. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, but you know why the US pull out of it? Because they think they've got the best tech. And they think they're streets ahead of everybody else. So they think, well, this stops us deploying our really good tech. And then when Russia comes up with something that looks like it's completely out of left field, they're boom, there you go.
Yeah. And I mean, that's exactly there's right the way through the Ukraine war, our side specifically are idiotic commentariat and the NAFOids and stuff. Every single new thing that they first of all say they're not. Biden says, "Oh no, we're not sending that to Ukraine because that would be an escalation." And in 6 months they send it.
Yeah.
And every single one of them, the Challengers, the M1s, the HIMARS, the Attackams, the Leopards, the whole bloody lot. Every single time one of those things they say they're going to send it out. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is the game changer. Ukraine is gonna win with this." And none of them change the game. And Oreshnik doesn't just change the game; it changes
the board.
Geopolitical, geostrategic calculations. It changes everything.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does. You're right.
And it can't be stopped. And I mean, the best stuff I've seen about it is from Ted Postel, who's been interviewed by the Duran and by Dialogue Works and by Judge Knapp and various people. And he reckons it's actually not an intermediate range ballistic missile, which was what we all thought. Well, first of all, we thought it was an intercontinental ballistic missile, and then we thought it was an intermediate range. Now, Postel reckons, with fairly good evidence, that it's a hypersonic glide vehicle, which nobody else has, and which is completely new technology because of how it essentially the missile goes up, it releases 6 warheads, and those warheads then effectively travel through the upper atmosphere, and they get very, very hot. And I mean, the thing reaches temperatures of 4,000 degrees Celsius and speeds of Mach 10. And then the 6 that it releases have another, I think they have 6 each. So you end up with 36 of these things falling on your head. And they're all red hot. The reason they call it that, because Oreshnik means hazel in Russian. And the reason they call it that is because it looks like the plant, like the flowers on the hazel plant before the hazelnuts come out. And you just wouldn't want one of those things on your head. I mean, the Ukrainians haven't released any pictures of the base that was targeted. Well, it's a military factory, like a giant mile square, like 4 levels underground, and the thing's completely been destroyed by all accounts.
Yeah. And there wasn't even that big a flash when they hit it, because it didn't, apparently wasn't even carrying warheads, was it?
No, but when you have a
just
projectile,
kinetic, yeah. Oh, do you remember Rods from Space? Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, that was the same kind of principle, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you drop a large piece of metal, or you accelerate it into the atmosphere, and then you drop it on someone's head, and it's traveling at 7, 8, 9 times the speed of sound, and is heated to beyond the melting point of steel, anything it hits is done.
Do you remember the urban myth that if you flung a ham sandwich off the Empire State Building and it hit someone, it would kill them?
Yeah.
That's just nonsense.
It's the same with pen. If you chuck a penny off the Empire State Building, it would kill someone.
Well, a penny's got a better chance than a ham sandwich. I mean, a ham sandwich has got too much surface area for its weight. Penny doesn't have a lot of surface area. What's the terminal velocity?
Hudson River.
What's the terminal velocity of a penny, though?
Well, it's the same as terminal velocity of anything else, I think. It's in the terminal velocity.
Does it not depend on... It depends on your surface.
It depends on the weight.
Depends on the weight and the surface area. That's why cats can fall off. Cats are just about the biggest mammal, I think, that can fall off of things and survive. You know, because I've seen cats fall off of 5-6 story buildings and survive. In fact, the freaking cat did it 3 times, and it broke its leg. 120 is a human, Ray. I think a penny would be going faster than 120. Maybe, I don't know. I
What
might
about
be
the
wrong.
top part of the World Trade Center?
What about it? If that come off?
Well, no, I was just thinking. I was just trying to make a 9/11 related joke.
Yeah.
Badly.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let's have a quick look. Terminal velocity of a penny.
You're asking Grok.
No, I'm asking Perplexity
Okay.
because I got a deal this morning. I sent you the link thing. $4.99 for a month. Oh, it's not that high. It's only 50 mile an hour.
Yeah, I thought the terminal velocity is like 50, 60 miles an hour for
Yeah,
most things.
it's not heavy enough.
Um,
And obviously it could be as low as 20 miles an hour or 25 miles an hour if it comes down flat. Well, there you go.
Especially if you can't shoot it out the sky before it hits you.
So terminal velocity for penny is between 25 and 50 miles an hour. And the militants come to the same conclusion. Excellent. Well done. Right. Okay, let's move on to... what were we talking about there? Before we got on to pennies? Orezhnik, yeah. That is scary, isn't it? Do you think you'll drop one on London?
Well, the thing is that the Russians have they've already released a map with
Did they release that map?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Okay, I don't understand that map then, because it leaves off our nuclear facility and the
but
Faslane.
Yeah, because the whole point, if you're going to use, if you're not
non-nuclear,
then if they send an Orezhnik somewhere like Faslane, you have no idea. Well, I mean, if their objective is to take out military targets, and they've specifically said if we're going to target civilian areas, then those civilians will get a warning, because there's nothing that. I mean, it's obviously during one of his press conferences, you could almost see him smiling. He was almost it was almost like he was trying to stop himself from smiling, because it was just like, look, you can't.
It wasn't a smile, Ed. It's what you call a shit-eating grin.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but when you demonize that much, and you're fighting the collective might of the combined West and kicking their asses, and it just you can put yourself in the shoes of world leader and think, this is in your face, bitches.
Yeah.
Is kind of where that was coming from. I mean, but I'm actually less scared of that than I am nukes, to be frank, because it's a much more surgical weapon. It's not this. I mean, there's no fallout. The Russians have already said. I mean, and unlike other armies that one could mention, the Russians have gone out of their way not to target civilians.
They have indeed. Yeah,
the Ukrainians have had to invent propaganda about Russian missiles hitting hospitals that actually turned out to be Ukrainian defense missiles gone astray.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, yes, I'm actually more worried about our own side than I am the Russians, frankly.
Oh, there's Shalini trying to dox one of our other listeners.
Shalini, we've told you about this.
I'm not too far from Faslane myself, James. But anyway, yeah.
I mean, Portsmouth was on the list. And
but Portsmouth's not nuclear.
London. No. But I mean...
See, London, there's 2 targets in London that are fantastic, and that's the 2 Amazon data centres. You take them out, you cripple the communications.
Yeah, but I think that all of the targets the Russians had on their map in the UK are all specifically military.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, to be honest,
In the first
they're
instance.
actually, well, I mean, I've seen unconfirmed reports on X/Twitter today that there are French and British troops massing on the Polish border
Oh,
with
God.
Ukraine.
No chance.
So, well, we'll see. I mean,
Well, massing? The British troops? Massing?
well, obviously not massing. I mean, I was exaggerating for effect, but
Yeah.
I mean, they've probably sent a few in a couple of Ford Transit vans or something.
Yeah.
Like
So, so people are saying that there's a lot of cameras out in London today, right?
yeah. And I
Um,
saw a report that there's some out in Birmingham as well.
did you see Denmark last night?
Denmark.
Denmark lost everything. Cameras, cell communication, including the emergency services network. Everything went. The whole country went dark.
And they blamed the Russians, no doubt.
Well, to be fair, who else would you blame at this point?
But why would they?
I don't know. Well, I don't know. Well, Denmark wasn't involved. Denmark wasn't involved in anything, unless it was a strike against Allah.
Let's cover that one in a minute, because that's the latest bit of juicy, delicious creaminess.
yeah.
But the thing with taking out comms is that it's something that you do before you attack. You take out the enemy's communications and then you hit them.
Yeah.
And so to take out comms without some sort of attack, or to take out comms somewhere like Denmark,
are they just
maybe
testing
try run for something?
Well, yeah, because let's face it, Denmark's not something where they're really going to hit, is it? I mean, there's no strategic advantage to hitting Denmark.
Well, there's no strategic advantage to hitting most of Europe, apart from it's a bear that is pissed off with being poked by a stick, so it's going to scratch someone's face off and bite someone else's balls off. I mean,
yeah.
And Putin knows well that in the case of the British and the French and the Dutch and the Germans, if Putin was to lob a Reznik or two at their seat of government, most of the populations of all of these countries would have a fucking party. Literally, everyone would be dancing in the freaking streets.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the happiness on little old ladies' faces to see Westminster go up? I mean, it's and the French are just the same, because Macron is just as much of a little globalist bitch as Starmer.
Well, they all are. They all are, to be fair. I mean, did you see Starmer cross the chamber today and go up and have a chat with Farage, all touchy-feely, and they're all, I think they're all homosexuals. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's what I think.
I'm 100% convinced that you don't get into any kind of position of power, even if what Nigel Farage has got is called power, which I suppose it is in a way.
Compromat.
Exactly, but you don't get into a position like that without being compromised.
Yeah. Because
ultimately, whoever has to be able to control you.
Yeah, you could well be right. I mean, I suppose Hollywood's a bit like that as well, because you can see the ones. I mean, the ones that are not compromised, and the James Wood springs to mind straight away.
Well, the ones that are not compromised are all the ones that have been cancelled. People like Matthew Marsden and
yeah. Well, Matthew Marsden's a bit of a twat, though, isn't he?
But I'm not saying he's a bit of twat.
But James Wood, he's been on Twitter saying whatever he likes. Basically, I don't think he's compromised. You never see. Well, Starmer's wife is what you term a precautionary wife, Shalini.
she if you look at some of the pictures of those two together, she has the more of a I don't know. It's very convenient. She has this air of a controller about her, or something along those lines. Some kind of.
You think she's his handler?
Or
she could be.
Maybe she's the honeypot or something, or she knows all the dirt on him.
It was like she's just. Do you remember the kiss?
Oh, what, that fake?
Yeah,
I've seen more convincing kisses in bloody really bad films.
yeah.
I mean, it's and she's because I'm sure that she got a whole nice new wardrobe off Lord Alice, so
Yeah.
there is that. But it's I don't know. You have these politicians. Mark Rutte is another one. Never been married, doesn't have any kids. Lived with his mother until I think became NATO Secretary General. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, I mean, not in his case, but Starmer was single for a large chunk of his life, and then suddenly, before he becomes leader of the Labour Party, he suddenly got a wife, and
Yeah.
it's just like
the legal profession's rife with that sort of thing.
absolutely, and some of the stories about Tony Blair as well. I mean, obviously,
Chief
we have to say
Cottager.
that they're all rumours. But we all know. I mean, just the Epstein list. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's Epstein was just one. We've got Diddy. We've got Epstein. There's probably a British version of them as well.
Oh, almost certainly.
Branson, maybe. I don't know. That's speculation. But you just know that these bastards are all dirty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they totally don't have our interests at all.
Oh, they definitely don't. Definitely don't. So go on.
No, I was just going to say that my state of mind recently has been. I feel like there's a race on between my flat renovation and World War III, and if the government blows the country up before my flat is done, I'm going to be really pissed off.
Yeah. What would be even worse was if they blew the country up just after your flat was finished.
Oh yeah, no, that, for sure, absolutely. Oh, it's just but. The fact that gallows humor is an important way to keep your sanity at times like this. But I mean, it's completely mental. It's just, and you can see how angry people are just at this Arla thing. I mean, they make a post saying, "Oh, we're really proud. We're all climate friendly, and we're going to start feeding this stuff to cows to stop their burps and their farts."
Yeah.
And at least half of X went completely loopy. It's like, what the hell is in that stuff? Within a couple of hours, people had tracked down the exact ingredients list and gone through it and worked out that one of the things that it can potentially do is reduce male fertility. And then it's just then you see that Bill Gates is connected to the whole thing.
Well, yeah, he is. So Shalini says not only Arla, it's Muller and Marks and Spencer. Well, apparently Muller's not using Bovar. Okay, so Muller has come out and said none of their farms are using Bovar, but Muller has been on a trial for some time now with a thing called EnviroClack or something like that, which is a vegetable oil and marine oil based fat supplement that improves milk yield and has a rumen something or another to reduce burping.
We've got enough grass and fields in this country. Yeah. Why can't we just have cattle eating grass? We've got enough land. I mean, there's enough fields that are empty and stuff, and it's just all of the bullshit and all of the climate nonsense. They just don't want us eating healthy protein sources. They want us eating bugs and controllable things.
Yeah, and I'll provide Starbucks with all their ready-made, ready to drink products. Like the things you get, the Starbucks you get in cans and things. So they're all made by Arla. So there you go. You got to boycott them as well if you don't want to drink Bovar. But there's some evidence actually that they've been doing this since June or something with Tesco.
Well, there's some that going back to 2022 and 2023. I saw some of the different products. I mean, one of my rules of thumb for at least 20 years has been that I always buy organic tea, I always buy organic sugar, and I always buy organic milk because I drink a lot of tea. I get organic coffee as well, and the best thing to do, I know it's more expensive, but food is worth spending money on. But when you do buy food, get as much organic as you can, even if it means buying less of something else, just so you can get a better quality
Mhm.
bit of
Yeah.
beef or milk or whatever.
Maybe Shalini, you should try feeding Vaughn some seaweed if it's good for the farting.
Seaweed is, I can't say I'm a fan. I
I
remember when I was at school,
so-
we had this. Go on.
used to go to Chinese and used to get deep fried seaweed, right? But
Mhm.
it's not seaweed; it's cabbage. It's a
basically
Chinese
deep-fried
cabbage.
that they chuck
Yeah.
fish oil over, fish
Yeah.
sauce over.
Yeah. But anyway, right. You used to go to school?
Oh no! Once upon a time, many years ago, when dinosaurs still roamed the earth. Yeah, I just remember there was a Japanese girl whose parents worked at Fuji in Breda, or I think it was Breda. And that was the first time I'd encountered Japanese food, and she used to have these rice balls covered in seaweed, and I just remember trying it once, and it's literally the most disgusting thing I've ever eaten. And now sushi is all the rage, and I'm just
Yeah, I
like,
know.
oh, gross.
You ever been
With
to
raw
Japan?
fish. No,
I love sushi. I'll be honest, I do love sushi. But have you ever been to Japan? No.
no.
I'd
I'd love to see it. I just think it would. It's a bit over. I think it's a bit overpowering.
Have you ever seen Blade Runner, the original?
Yeah.
That's Japan,
Mhm.
right? That's what Japan's like, right? But yeah, I remember coming down to the breakfast. Coming down from the hotel into the breakfast room and looking at everything and going, I don't know what anything is here. And I mean, it all looked like somebody scraped it off the pavement.
It's like my first Egyptian breakfast.
It's like, what the hell am I supposed to eat? And then I saw some, Western style food, and I thought, I think I'll just play it safe because I've got a long flight. I've got a long flight coming up, so I just played it safe and stuck to the Western food. Although I did have a curry in the airport, but that's quite safe as well generally. But some of the other stuff,
Depending on where in the world you are.
yeah, I suppose so. But some of the other stuff is just bizarre. You just no idea what the hell it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's not until you go abroad that you realise how spoilt we are for breakfast choices. But then maybe that's just cultural, because people who have yogurt and cold meat and stuff, which is what they'd have somewhere like Holland or Germany, it's like
Yeah,
cold cuts and cheese and things like that.
yeah, they seem to
And
do
the
that
whole
all over
idea of
Europe.
a full English breakfast is just how can you eat that much food first thing in the morning?
Yeah, well, that's
But you
true,
don't
and
generally.
you don't. I mean, I don't
I mean,
have breakfast at breakfast time. If I'm going to have breakfast, it's usually around about 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
Mhm.
So I don't generally have it.
If I do a fry up, it's generally always brunch rather than breakfast.
Yeah. I don't eat in the morning. I'm not a great morning eater. Right. Here's something that I actually commented on yesterday, because I never saw one tweet yesterday about the petition.
I saw that.
it
I
just
saw a few
disappeared.
yesterday.
Well,
No, I've seen
yeah. Have you
I've
seen
seen
some?
a few. I haven't seen more links to the petition, but it has fizzled out. I mean, it got to nearly 3 million.
Oh yeah. I mean, you got to give it its due. It collected a lot of signatures, but it just seemed to fizzle out dead quick.
Yeah, but things like that do. I mean, this is we live in the era of the 30-second attention span,
Oh,
and it's and I mean they do, but it came up very quickly, and it got
Yeah.
masses of signatures, and then it sort of fizzled out again, and it's just, I mean, because everybody signing it knew that it's not going to cause an election.
Yeah,
If
of
we're
course not.
if we're lucky, it will get debated in Parliament, and we'll have a chance for just the MPs to just prove how supine and useless and conniving they all are. But I think it was as much an expression of rage and protest at the government,
Yeah.
as it was being signed in any reasonable expectation of anything happening as a result of it. It just felt good to sign it, and then it felt good to see the numbers go up. It's a show of unity and people realizing that they're not alone as well, because the government and the media are very good at making us feel like we're all on our own.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
so
actually, when you see that, I mean, it was fun watching it go up.
yeah, I mean, it certainly got plenty of, and it seemed to wind a lot of people up on the other way as well. You know, a lot of people. I mean, I was quite. I wasn't perturbed about it. I just said it's a waste of time. It's not going to make any difference. But there were people who were actively calling people that signed it fools and stuff like that. And, you know, I don't understand why they got so upset about people signing a petition, because people sign petitions for all sorts of stupid things. But these people seem to go out their way, and people like Charlie, what's his name, Samson and stuff like that, you know, they really seem to get a real hair up their ass about it.
Yeah,
Why?
I mean, I saw a post from Bob Moran about it. I mean, it didn't seem like he had a hair up his ass about it, to use your expression. But Bob is, I mean, he's pretty much an anarchist. He's like a cartoon anarchist or anarchist cartoonist. Bless him. And I love Bob to bits. He gifted me a copy of his book, which was really kind of him. And the thing is, you don't always have to agree with someone to respect them. And I think that in other cases, the ones who are the most venomous about the petition and who actually go around calling people who sign it idiots and stuff, I don't understand them, because that we all, I don't know, that maybe they think that we think that something's actually going to change, and then just completely missing the point. I think some of those black-pilled people are also plants. I think that not all rabbits are on our side, as it were.
Yeah.
Because there are some people that will deliberately go in there and poo-poo and denigrate things like that, which actually make people feel good, and they make people feel like they're not completely on their own. And it's, I mean, okay, so it doesn't do anything, but when you're sitting on that page and you're seeing it go up by, at one point it was going up by a few thousand every time it refreshed.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to watch, and you just think, yeah, everyone hates the bloody government. And it's,
they do.
In these, so it's, and the fact that they're now going to have a debate about it will be interesting, because they just expose what useless bastards they all are.
Yeah, well, I suppose, I mean, 3%'s it's not an inconsequential amount of the population, to be fair.
If you compare, I mean, it was nearly 3 million. He only got 8 million or 9 million votes. I mean,
I saw about 10, but even so, it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, that's a third of how many votes he got.
Yeah.
Just
I mean,
just from an online petition in about 72 hours.
And you know, it only takes 1.5%, you know, just saying.
And if it had been the other side, if it had been people protesting that something Nigel Farage had said, or if it had been a petition to condemn the election of Trump or something like that, if it somehow it was an anti-Trump thing, they would have all been cooing about it.
Yeah,
and
of course
they would have been like, sign our little petition.
Yeah, but everybody supports their own thing, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I support our thing. Yay! I'm in a tribe. I'm in a tribe. Right. Let's move on to the assisted dying bill that passed today in England and Wales. So what does it mean for you?
Well, my mum and my stepdad both live in Holland, so they're already covered by the Dutch. The thing is, I have the same attitude towards assisted dying that I do towards capital punishment, which is that intellectually and logically, I think that if someone has a terminal illness like cancer, or some
Yeah.
sort of condition, which means that they are absolutely not going to improve and that their quality of life is going to be horrible,
Mhm.
that person should have the option of ending their life, or at least it shouldn't be a crime if someone else helps them end their life,
Yeah.
or how. And it's the same with capital punishment. I think that there are certain crimes that deserve a death penalty. Raping a child, for example.
Well,
I
so
mean, personally speaking, I would advocate capital punishment for people who rape kids.
I'm,
But
but see,
let's stick the butt in.
right.
The problem is that it's going to get abused. It's like when we had capital
Yeah.
punishment,
What happens
a
when you
lot
get it
of
wrong?
people were hanged who shouldn't have been hanged.
Yeah, exactly.
And
But
with euthanasia,
I wasn't even, sorry.
no, go on.
I wasn't even thinking about that when it came to capital punishment. What I was thinking about was, is it not too an easy a way out to just pop these people off? Don't you really want them to suffer?
You bastard.
Or am I just gone too far the other way now?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't like to say that some people deserve a horrible, painful, miserable death, but unfortunately, there are people out there who do. Not that many of them, but I can think of a few. But even then, my nature is not to cheer anything like
Yeah.
that. I don't think it's a kind of laughing matter in a way, but I think there's a balance, because ultimately we have a choice. We have a choice to live. We have a choice to die. And
Yeah.
if where I have issues is where you have society, particularly doctors, what we saw happen during
Mhm.
COVID, where you have a system that fundamentally can't be trusted, that gets put in
Yeah.
charge of something like this.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it becomes a problem. If it's all done
Mhm.
above board, and if it's a person who's competent to make a decision,
Yeah.
that they are making a decision for a logical reason, that they don't want to endure 6, 8, 10, 12 months of
Yeah.
complete agony.
I mean, it's like, why did the medical profession put DNRs on people with autism during the pandemic? You know, why? I mean, not necessarily known to them either. You know, they didn't exactly tell people that they were doing this.
But it's eugenics.
Yeah,
This is the thing. The only way it makes sense. It's like, why would they off loads of old people in care homes with midazolam?
Yeah.
Well, that's
So
completely
allegedly,
logical.
allegedly,
Sorry,
but
allegedly, yes, obviously, allegedly.
let's look at what
It's all
happened in
speculation.
Canada, right? And this is just one tiny example of the route that we could now be going down. So, a retired army veteran, I think a lady, medically retired due to back problems and leg injury sustained in the line of duty or whatever, now in receipt of a pension, but was looking for assistance in putting a stair lift into her home, which sounds quite reasonable. So she phoned up the relevant government department to see if she could get some help. You know, she would pay half and they would pay half or whatever, and she could get a stair lift. And they said, sorry, we don't have any funds for that. But if it's all getting too much for you, have you considered assisted dying?
Well,
that's real. I mean, that's just crazy.
I know it is. I've heard this story independently from you telling me, so I can completely confirm that is a real story, and that's where this is going. The other thing that, who was it? I can't remember who it was on X that started posting about this as soon as it came out that the government was going to be debating it. Why now? Why so quickly? I mean, the country's got 101 problems, and the government's priority is to try and assist more people to
when your
kill themselves.
When your prime minister's a lawyer, every problem has a new law to fix it, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's
Right,
that's the problem.
let's-
Half the political class.
Let's move on to something that I stirred up a bit yesterday. And I've got to give you this. It was great for engagement on Twitter, right? So,
God.
so I only made one. I made one comment, right? So I made one comment about the drones over Lakenheath, and remember, it's not that long ago that I actually just published a video all about the Langley drones. Well, there was a drone swarm flying over the Langley airbase where the F-22s, America's most secret stealthy aircraft, or the one that we know about, is based. Grounded them, in fact, forced them to move base because they flew over every night at the same time for 17 days in a row. Okay? Now, that happened in Langley, in Virginia. And then the same thing seems to have started happening here in Lakenheath and Mildenhall and whatever. And somebody posted a picture of it. Look at that thing go, right? As an F-15 apparently turns up on the scene and the drone scoots away. Now, even though it's a pretty ropey video, because for some reason all these videos seem to be really low resolution, but this video, you can see their massive height difference. So the thing that's lower down, which is the drone, is going to go. And I just said it's really handy because people. This was on a UAP type thread almost, right? And this is really handy that all these UAPs have navigation lights too. And that's all I said.
I saw it.
And you'd think you would have think I'd stood on a fire ant nest. It was and they were like horrible to me, Ed. I couldn't understand why they kept calling me names when all I pointed out was the drone had lights on it. And then the one that got me was the propulsion system may cause that light, whether it be secret or anti-gravity. And I'm like,
How the hell? Okay, how the hell would no?
but how do we go? How do we go from? I mean, it's been variously reported as quadcopters to things the size of a car, right? Now,
Yeah,
quadcopters are not the size of a car. Even those big ones that, like, what's their name? Scottish Power used to go up and down the power lines and things. They're not the size of a car, right? So if it's got to be a military drone of some kind, I think. But how do you go from drones to its anti-gravity driving aliens like that?
well, it's 2024, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean that's basically the only thing I can say is it's 2024.
Yeah,
And for however crazy I think this world has got or gotten,
oh, here we go.
pretty much.
Oh, right, carry on.
No, I was going to say pretty much every day it surprises me. What were you going to say?
No, I'll tell you what, we'll get there. We'll get there, right? So, a tweet tonight goes, insane amount of UFO sightings. And I'm like, no, there isn't an insane amount of UFO sightings. All these things that are getting posted are, one, mainly lens flares, and two, they're all reposts of stuff that's happened over the last, 5, 6, sometimes even 10 years. So you're getting reposts of everything that's happened over the last decade now. And it looks like people are reposting. It looks like people are posting stuff for the first time, but they're not. They're just reposting stuff that's already been there. Like the stuff over the Capitol. You look at
It's classic Twitter. They jump on bandwagons for engagement.
And it's like you can see the pattern in the sky is exactly the same as the pattern of the streetlights. It's just absolutely incredible that people don't understand how optics in cameras work. And
some people are just so desperate for an alien invasion they are to make it up.
Right. And then we have the Manchester airport blob, okay? So
yeah.
so
I don't know what that is, but
Right. Oh, I tell you what, it's
Yeah, we got
not.
no-
It's not a fucking tiny planet that slipped out another dimension, which was one possible explanation. Right. Secondly, if it is a space vehicle and it's carrying aliens, they are fucking tiny. They are teeny tiny aliens. Right, it's probably something like what was that? What was that? Batteries Not Included. They had tiny aliens in it, didn't they? That movie. Anyway,
Oh, it's that
so
little one in Men in Black where it's riding around in a person's head.
oh, there's that as well. Yeah, that's true. Right. So there's a video of the, and I hate to say it, it's a fucking balloon, right? There's a video of the balloon in the sky, which is fine, and it's an out of focus, poorly shot video from a phone, which was obviously taken from a cockpit, and people have been able to recreate it in Blender at the right height and the angle. Everything matches up. That being a balloon, and it's fair dues. It's a balloon, right? But the one on the ground isn't really a video. I think we've got 2 photographs of it in 2 different positions, and then somebody's enhanced it.
That old chestnut.
So people say it's not been Photoshop, it's been AI enhanced so as to bring out the true detail of it. You just a bit
Oh, right, so
swallowed.
AI does the bloody photoshopping instead.
I don't think these people
Yeah.
quite understand how AI works. I mean, all it does is extrapolate based on what you're telling it.
Look, it's the new thing. All you have to do to make yourself sound a bit more clever or make your idea sound more clever is just to stick AI at the front of it.
Yeah. That's what we should
Just
do.
literally, just say we've used AI to do this or that, and suddenly it becomes more believable than saying that I did it myself in Photoshop.
I know. I can't believe, and the other thing about the Manchester blob or whatever you want to call it is, it's not even fucking new. This appeared like 6 months ago, and didn't cause any consternation then. So why is it? It's causing consternation now because everybody's jumping on the bandwagon at one point in time.
Yeah, but had you considered that all of that jumping on the bandwagon thing is actually just massive distraction from other stuff that's going on, particularly Israel? I mean, don't
Oh,
forget
it could well
that when
be.
we're talking.
So
Don't forget that when we're talking about Israel, they've got one of the most sophisticated cyber warfare operations.
yeah. Oh,
in the
yeah.
history
Yeah,
of
they do. I know.
computing.
So let's go to the chat briefly. And Fuffy Columbo says someone did a 3D model. Yeah, they did do a 3D model. They did a 3D model of the video and were able to confirm that all the angles and everything that showed up in that video looked like it was taken with a phone from the cockpit of an A320 or an A319 or whatever, right? But they could not match up the angle of the object on the ground. The object on the ground seemed to be taken from 2.5 meters height, which is nowhere near the height of the cockpit of a A320, which would be around 4.5 meters. So, who took the photograph? And why did they take such bad photographs? Or is the photograph not really a photograph? Somebody said they did a forensic investigation of it using readily available free software on the interwebs. That doesn't sound like a forensic investigation to me. I don't know about you, but I mean, they look at the spectral analysis of the photograph and say there's nothing to indicate that something's been inserted or not. Fair enough. Maybe the whole photograph was made at one point in time, by AI, and then there wouldn't be any bumps in the spectral analysis, would there?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in this day and age.
Oh, and there's no
you have to be
metadata.
even more suspicious.
There's no metadata attached to the photograph. There's a big red flag.
Well, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a massive red flag because if it was taken from a mobile phone in a cockpit it would have EXIF data.
Yeah, and the captain who posted this had the account Captain Bigelow.
Oh, fuck off.
And
I mean, that's just-
and included the hashtags, UFO, UAP disclosure. I'm
That's like
calling
the cheesy
bullshit.
version of Lou Elizondo.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on this one. Yeah,
Oh, I'm calling bullshit on that one too.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it's not. It's not fucking UAP.
it's not a UAP. It's not aliens. Oh my god! People are just
Just
desperate. They're
no.
desperate to. I still can't get my head round. I can't get my head around the space involved. The time to travel, the distances in space, because I don't think people understand. I don't think they really understand the massive distance that's involved in traveling to these places.
Yeah, but I think the problem, especially on X, is that a lot of these accounts that you start getting argumentative and they post replies that are deliberately inflammatory in
Mhm.
order to get people's backs up,
Mhm.
so that then we all just waste our time arguing with people. They don't give a shit.
No, I know
They'll just give
they're
up
just
as-
doing it for
and they'll-
clicks.
Or they're doing it deliberately to sow discontent.
Discord.
I mean, don't forget, we've got the 77th Brigade.
Well, that's true.
We've got, I mean, most countries have got their own cyber warfare people. I
Mhm.
mean, you can generally tell when you're talking to one of the people from the Baltics, because they're all just completely mental
Mhm.
and really rabidly nasty as well. And then you have the Brits from the 77th, who are just a little bit more cultured, but not very much. And they just go in there to cause problems and to get everybody fighting. And because it's that analogy of you have a jar full of red ants and black ants, and they're
Yeah.
basically quite happy and leave each other alone. And you shake the jar up and they start fighting because they think they're being attacked by the other one. And that's exactly what's going on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Literally every single day on social media.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. But the thing that
And
gets
Twitter
me,
more so.
the thing that gets me is that the whole thing about posting all these things and claiming things are such and such and such and such, it doesn't give any credibility to any kind of serious study of it. Now that might be by intention, which, as you pointed out, could be the 77 or whatever, but it doesn't give any credibility. And then when you get people like Ross Coulthard, the journalist from Australia, posting the same things and saying the same stupid things and then having to retract them, the credibility. I mean, and did you see what Elizondo over the last 2 weeks has had at least 2 hoax photographs in his presentations that have been called out to him, I mean, the guy had a chandelier reflected in a window and called it a UFO in Romania. He's lost it. And then he had the triangular TRB, which has been long debunked, maybe as long as 10 years. The guy's lost it.
The thing is that I think that's the point, especially at the moment, because we have some very serious things going on, particularly places like the Middle East.
Yeah.
And it serves the interest of powers, let's call them, in this world, who want to distract. They want people fighting. They want people arguing over stupid nothing pictures of supposedly an alien, because all the time that they're sitting there bickering about that, their attention is distracted away from much more serious things, which actually have consequence.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of more serious things, what's happening with the Tates? So they seem to be swanning about and buying yachts and things as if all their court cases have been dropped. But I'm not led to understand that. I think there's still a possibility of them being taken to task for trafficking a minor and fraud.
Well, I'm about as interested in them as I am in soap operas, because that's basically all it is.
It kind of is. It's a soap
Um,
opera for the modern age.
Well, yeah, and I think they're both. I mean, I don't necessarily want to see either of them locked up for something they didn't do.
Mhm.
But I think they're thoroughly disreputable and complete hypocrites. And they're both really bloody obnoxious, sort of really nouveau riche, where you can have lots of money and absolutely zero class.
So yeah, okay. So speaking of disreputable hypocrites, what about Zuckerberg turning up at Mar-a-Lago and telling?
I was just sucking up to the new president, gonna say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr.
Yeah.
Trump. We didn't
Well,
mean to censor you and cancel you and ban all your posts and close
He
your
has-
account and promote everyone that said nasty shit about you. Now you're going to be president. I just want to make sure that you're not going to try and close my shit down."
So Trump had a conversation with him and said, "Yeah, I think he's going to change his ways because he said that he wants Facebook to be a free and open platform, much like Twitter is."
Bollocks.
Hey,
Literally.
isn't the door open for redemption to anyone? Is it not? Is there not a possibility? He said sorry, right? He has said sorry publicly and on more than one occasion. You know, he said a lot.
He hasn't stopped censoring people and cancelling
Oh,
people.
that takes time.
Closing people.
You know, that takes time.
I mean,
even in Twitter, it's taken Musk. I mean, he's still not got there. It's taken a long time to get rid of the lefty censorship, and it's still there to a degree. You know, so
yeah, because a lot of it was in algorithms and
yeah,
was baked into the system.
Yep.
And Facebook has, and I mean, they continue to bake it into the system. At least X is trying to pull stuff out, I think.
yeah. Well, I'm not sure, but you know, I don't know.
I'm not convinced either, because it's still. I mean, there are still things on X that you can't say, and I mean, what's his face? Ozzy Kozak is still had his account suspended, and I don't particularly like the guy, but he didn't really ever say anything that deserved him having his account taken away.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's this ongoing horniness that all the powers that be have to suppress freedom of speech, because they can't control the narrative. And
yeah, but
as we've seen with Ukraine, narratives are all they've got left.
But once one social media platform goes rogue, there is no point in trying to control the rest of them, because that one then becomes the attraction for everyone who doesn't believe what they're seeing on the other platforms. Therefore, they leave the other platforms en masse. So the other platforms suffer. That's why the other platforms have got to drop censorship. So it's probably nothing to do with the fact that he is sorry or not. He needs to follow the line, and if the line is less censorship, then he has to follow that line in order to retain, in order to retain people like. I mean, I used to be on Facebook. I haven't used Facebook for years now, right? But I used to use it all the time.
I use Facebook as a birthday calendar.
No, I'm not. I'm not sending you a link, Ben. This is not now. It's too late. And threes don't work, I don't think, very well on these kind of things. So Ed and I will continue just chatting away. I'm more than happy for you to jump in at any point when it's you and me. You can do it any day, any week, any weeknight. Really. No problem, but when we've got something scheduled, I think we'll just work with the scheduled thing. Yeah. Anyway,
I don't mind buggering off.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Honestly, I mean, we've been on nearly an hour, and I've been up since 5:30. So, right. Anyway, moving on. Canada has found 10,000 fake student visas. 10,000 fake student visas. 80% of them are from what country? Come on.
India?
Yes! You nailed it!
Well, the thing is that I mean, the dear leader Starmer admitted it so much as much today or yesterday
Yeah.
when he said that previous governments have had an open borders policy that he says he's going to change, but obviously won't because it's not part of their agenda. And Canada is just as bad. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, I know.
it's Canada. I mean, Canada's fallen. It just the stuff that we've seen in Canada over the last 4 years, and I mean, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, if you talked to me about Canada, I would have said it was just this really cool kind of not quite American and somewhere that you could get a decent bacon sandwich. And I mean, I've known loads of Canadians and they're all really nice people.
Yeah.
And yeah, Justin Trudeau's got a lot to answer for, as does Christopher Freeland and that whole. I mean, the Canadian government. If we talk about bad governments, I mean, how the hell has Trudeau survived this long? Apart from the fact that he's got fondness for trampling anyone who disagrees with him with horses.
Yeah, but do you not think generally, right? And maybe I'm wrong, but generally people are left or right, okay? And unless you're really been stirred up, it takes a lot to move you from your position of left or right, regardless of how bad your leader is. I think Starmer's an exceptionally bad leader, and he's making people move from left to right.
I think calling him a leader is actually being overly generous.
But look,
he's
not. Okay, but look what Rishi did. I mean, Rishi drove people from the right to either not vote or vote Labour, right? I think generally he drove them not to vote, which effectively gave Labour a free run. So I think to move people from their entrenched position takes an awful lot. And I think that's what's happening in Canada, because Canada has always tended to be a bit of a liberal country. And, I think it when you're spoon-fed propaganda through the mass media all the time, you're never going to move your position until something comes home to hit you. I mean, look at that guy Malhotra, right? Who couldn't hear anything bad about certain things, until his dad died, and they dug into it, and now he's like strong proponent against it. But his whole, he would still be on the side of the Jibbies if that hadn't happened.
He's also a bit of a self-aggrandizing douchebag.
Well, yeah, but there is a lot of that. There's a lot of that, mate. But yeah, so I mean, I think people just stick to what they know. They're in their tribe and they want to stick in it, And I think the ones that jump out of their tribe and become politically homeless, a bit like me, I don't know, I think you might be as well, right?
I've never had a tribe.
Yeah, so we're kind of social outcasts to a degree, because we don't fit in. I mean, someone said in one of the comments on the channel today that they don't understand why we don't have a better audience, and it is because we don't come down on one side more than another. We come down on the side of rationality, I think, and people don't like that because we do try to, and I think people don't generally like that because then you're not obviously on their side and you're not obviously against the other people, So they kind of go, oh, well, I don't know how to feel about this, rather than dealing with each individual thing on an individual basis. They still want to lump everything together. But that's just my view. It could well be wrong.
Well, in terms of us having the audience we've got, I'm quite happy with the audience we've got.
Yeah, I'd like it to be bigger.
We've never done this to be. I don't want to be a fucking YouTube star.
Yeah, well, I'd like to make enough money.
Well, you want to be a YouTube star?
I don't want to be a YouTube star.
No,
I just want to make enough money to comfortably live, and we don't get. I mean, I get the occasional drip fed donation, which is nice, and I really some people pay every month, and you know who you are, and I really appreciate you. In fact, I'll probably start doing the roll call again because I think it's important that you get recognised for what you do. And as I said the other night, if I for one instant thought it was charity, I wouldn't want to be taking it, because I like to think I'm providing some kind of entertainment for the corn that we get, the meagre part, the meagre bit of corn that is. But I like to think we're providing some kind of entertainment, or making you think, challenging your perspectives. But a lot of people don't like that, and obviously I'm not talking about our audience. I'm talking about people that maybe come and dip in and go, oh, these guys are, the lefties, or they're far right, And I don't think we are. I don't think you can label us.
Well, no, but this is the thing about us, is that people on the left would think we're right, and people on the right would think we're left.
Well, look at Ben. Ben used to say he was a lefty, and I was on the right, and I was always accused of being on the right. And yet, when we do our political compass test now, he's on the right and I'm on the left.
I mean, I've personally long thought that the whole left-right thing is just yet another divide and rule tactic.
Yeah.
But if I had to put myself in one of those camps, I'd probably be more on the left side of things than the right side of things.
Yeah.
But I'm also, I can't stand being told what to do or what to think. And so if someone, I'm the sort of person that will cut my nose off to spite my face. And if someone tells me to do something, I will literally not do it, even if it's to my own detriment sometimes.
I suppose it's about...
just because I'm an obstinate bastard. But I think it's also important to see both sides of the story. I wouldn't get on with you in the way that I do if, because you and I don't always see eye to eye. And we don't.
And I think that's a good thing.
I respect. Well, exactly. And I mean, at the same time, I do respect your views and your opinion. And I think that somehow, particularly social media and these sorts of platforms, these podcasts, people, they want their echo chamber. They want to be listening to someone that is basically telling them
they do
exactly what they want to hear.
Speaking of... sorry.
No, go on.
Speaking of podcasts, did you see the two dudes, right, who went on a podcast and started talking about the code in lasers? Right?
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah, right. So these guys are smoking DMT, right? And then when they look at the laser light, they can see a code in it, or pictures or something.
That had me thinking about the Matrix. Is it those Matrix symbols?
Yeah, well, I have no idea. But and this is the thing about DMT.
It's been replicated.
Well, this is the thing about DMT, right? Because almost everybody has the same experiences under DMT as everybody else, right? So you usually either not have a terribly vibrant experience or something like that, or you'll be in some kind of happy dippy, heightened sense thing, or you'll be talking to the machine elves, right? But these things are always replicated by the people that do this. And when they did the laser thing and never told anyone, that they just shined the light down the wall, and the guys are like, wow, there's something in there, and they're up and they're going, yeah, there's something in that light. And it's like it happened across a number of different people. So similar experience. It's a bit of a replication. So you're starting to get to the point where wild.
Well, let's just categorically say two things for the record. Am I advocating that anyone ever take any illegal substances?
No.
Do I recommend that everyone do a psychedelic at least once in their lives? Yes, absolutely.
No, he didn't. He didn't say that.
I didn't. Look,
he didn't.
We're all adults.
Yeah.
Ultimately, if people I mean, I've never tried DMT. I'm absolutely fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Do
yeah.
I think that there is some sort of code in lasers that people on DMT are seeing? I have absolutely no idea. I mean, one can't say, particularly with how crazy the world is and how much my perception of reality has changed over the course of my life, starting
Uh-huh.
pretty much with the first acid trip I took at university. Um,
I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm not
I'm not
laughing at you, Ed. I'm laughing at fucking Soldier, right? Because it's like we're talking about this. We've never done it, and Soldier goes, "You can't actually look at direct lasers. It has to be refracted through a glass of water and shown on a wall. Then you look at the wall." It's like, yeah, this speaks the voice of experience, methinks.
Well, here's an interesting mind bender for you.
Go on.
If the technique for doing this is to
Yeah.
shine the laser through the water,
Is it the
what if-
water's code that's been
Is it-
decoded?
precisely. I mean, water
I'm
is
with
very
you.
interesting. Water is a very interesting substance. They say that water has memory,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
that I mean we're 90% water. So
Have
well,
you
in my
tried
case,
talking to your
probably
water?
probably about 60% wine and about
So,
30%
so
water.
my wife thinks I'm nuts because I did an experiment. So we've got a water filter, and as I'm pouring the water into it, I'm going, this will be lovely sweet water because you are good water. You're going to be lovely and taste great and stay really fresh. And it does. It tastes better than water that you don't talk to. Talk to your
my
water people.
as well.
Talk to your
I
water.
talk to my water. I distill it and then talk to it.
Yeah. There you go.
And I use some really good quality Cornish sea salt to
And-
remineralize it.
And tell it you love it. Don't tell it you hate it. If you tell water you hate it, you're going to have a bad experience. Telling you.
Well, I mean, they've done some really fascinating experiments with water.
Yeah,
and
they
the
have.
effect of frequencies on water and stuff. It's
Yep.
there is a lot more to that. Now, in terms of the DMT and the lasers, I wouldn't like to say no categorically because the universe is much more interesting than that. I
Mhm.
find it unlikely, and I think that one of the things about those sorts of altered mind state experiences, that if you go into it with a particular mindset, it's like the difference between people who have good trips and bad trips, for
Yeah.
example, just on acid. I've found through experience that the difference between a good and a bad experience is, number one, your internal state of mind at the time. Number two, your external environment. If you're in a very comfortable environment with people that you feel really comfortable with, and there's no weirdness, and you're all just kind of exploring mind space together, and you can have an amazing experience. And at the same time, if you're at some sort of rave where you feel a bit uncomfortable and you've taken this thing and you're not sure, you can have the worst experience of your life, and it can
Yeah.
actually, in some case, really psychologically damage you. So it's very much dependent on other factors than the fact that you've just taken this thing, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
And at the
that
same
applies to a
time,
lot of things as well. I mean, even going to a party in a bad mood, you can have a rotten time, even though it's a great party and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
think,
sure. I mean,
I
it
think-
applies just as much to things like alcohol as it does
yeah.
psychedelics or
Yeah.
other mind-altering substances.
Right. I don't have any, as I said, I don't have any slides tonight, but let's, should we wrap this or get towards wrapping this up? There's a couple of things still to cover. So,
All the stuff that we've talked about so far is pretty much the things I'd want to cover. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to wrap it up in a little while.
cool. So, Soldier arrested at Edinburgh Airport. As his hand baggage was going through the scanner, the operator saw a grenade. So, Lieutenant Colonel Hugo was taking a training grenade or trying to take it onto an aircraft in Edinburgh Airport. And it's like, why? What the hell? Why? Just why?
Is he not part of some airport operation where they're trying to test their own security?
No, he's been arrested and he is going to court.
Well, he's a fucking idiot. Then.
Bomb squad and everything were called. Yeah, I
Well, you're
mean,
a moron.
yeah,
What kind of look? And he was in the military.
he's a fucking serving lieutenant colonel in the
Well, that
in the
explains
British
a large
Army.
amount about the state of the military.
Yeah,
I mean, if they have such breathtakingly gigantic morons in positions of military power, good thing taking them out. I mean, what the hell did he think was going to happen? What was? Do you know what his reasons were for having this thing in his bag?
it never covered that. But I don't know. I mean, it was a dud, so to speak. It was a deactivated training grenade, right? And the bomb squad said there was, or the EOD said there was no danger to life or whatever from it. But even so, it's not the kind of thing you want to try and take on a plane, you know.
Well, no, because was it in his checked luggage or his carry-on?
Carry on.
Oh, right, yeah, because then you just go up to all the, well, yeah, because you just walk up to a stewardess with this thing in your hand
Yeah, exactly.
and go, open the door to the captain's thing, I'm taking control of this aircraft.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what his state of mind was. It didn't go into any detail. The article just said that he had been charged and would be appearing at court at a later date.
Maybe he lost his mind and he was actually planning on taking
Maybe he
control of
was.
the aircraft.
That-
They're just denying it.
I think that's a definite possibility. Yeah, yeah. Because
I mean,
some people seem to want to go. They don't want to go alone. You know what I mean? When they go, they want to take someone with them. Look, like the MH370. You know.
sure.
You know. I mean, regardless of what Ashton says, I don't think it flew through a fucking portal. Unless it lost bits of its wing on the way, right? I don't think it flew through a portal, and it's almost certain that the captain ditched it in the Southern Ocean somewhere that nobody's ever going to find it.
I'm going to reserve judgment on that one.
It didn't fly through a portal.
Well, no, but I'm still going to be open to the possibility of a portal just because I like the idea of
I know you like the idea, but oh my god, the energy involved. Who made this portal?
That we potentially don't know about, stuff that stuff that's been hidden for the last 60 years or 100 years or 200 years or I don't know.
I'm getting too tired. I was listening to a thing last night on physics, and it was I can't remember his name, Shala something. He's got a different view. He doesn't subscribe to the multi-worlds theory and all that, and he's not a great fan of quantum mechanics as it stands, or general relativity either, by the sound of things. But he thinks he can unify it. But while he was talking, I had this revelation about the nature of time. I really did. This was at 5:30 this morning because I couldn't sleep, and I had to get up and start writing it down. So I think I'm going to make a video about it. I think I've had a revelation.
Oh wow!
It's probably bollocks,
John's
and complete and utter
theory of
nonsense.
everything.
No, it won't unify anything, but it'll explain how time works. I think it explains to me how time works better than I think. Because I don't think Einstein's conception of time is right, and not knocking Einstein, but I think he's wrong on that one.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Sounded like you were knocking him to me.
Yeah. Anyway, right. Okay. So now someone posted some stuff on Twitter, right, and it was derogatory to the person that had written that story about the black child that got evacuated from World War II or whatever. taken to the, how all the kids were taken to the country, and
Yeah.
it's not so much that whether there was or wasn't any black people in the UK, because there would have been. You just wouldn't have seen as many as you'd see now, right?
Hmm.
But I'm pretty sure there were some black people living in London during the war.
Oh, that's that new series about evacuees, and it's got black people in the advert.
Yeah. But the thing that gets me is the words, the acronym they use to describe these people is POC. POC. People of colour. Doesn't that just sound kind of bad? I mean, I might even be a racist, right? Deep down inside. But and I can recognise that I might be. But even I wouldn't call someone a person of colour. I think it's so derogatory. I'd rather call somebody black. Like,
Well,
you're a black
it's
guy.
not actually person of color.
Exactly.
It's person of color that's not white.
Yeah, and that to me that's
effectively what it's saying.
It's divisionary.
It's racism.
It's horrible. I think it's a horrible expression. I just find it abhorrent.
There's I'm not sure if you've ever heard of the movie Cry Freedom. It's about a black resistance leader called Steve Biko, who I've always been a massive fan of. And there's a brilliant scene in the film, and it actually happened in real life as well, where he's standing as a witness of the defense for some guys that were arrested on some sort of terrorism charge or something relating to black liberation in South Africa during the apartheid years. This is probably about 1969, 1970, something like that. And the judge turns to him and goes, "Why do people call yourselves black when you're more brown than black?" And he goes, and Biko replies, "Why do people call yourselves white when you're more pink than white?"
It's a fair question.
Precisely. And it's the thing is that there is not a single culture on the planet that isn't racist.
Yeah.
I mean, the Japanese are racist, the Chinese are racist. I've dealt with racism in Zambia that's just as bad. It's a fact of human nature to be suspicious of people who are not the same as you. And it's a tribal primal defense mechanism because you're safe with your group and you're not safe outside your group. But it's been institutionalized as a weapon. Instead of saying, look, this thing exists, and let's just say we're all a bit racist fundamentally, and that's not something that we should feel bad about. But okay, we shouldn't be horrible to each other because it's not about
it's like they say
being nasty to each other.
Exactly.
But we all,
as long as it comes from a place of love, it's okay.
Well, yeah, but it seems increasingly anti-white as well.
Yeah, that's true.
It seems to only be white people who can be racist. The minute that you start trying to say that a Chinese person is racist or an Indian person is racist or an African person is racist, then suddenly you're an even bigger racist because you're a white person accusing someone else of being a racist. I mean, it's this weird sort of self-destructive circular reasoning that I find really deeply troubling because particularly if you look at the kids and the sort of education that we're seeing in school and the sort of role models that these kids are having put in front of them and stuff. And it's like when you see someone like Eminem saying that he feels really ashamed to be white. I mean, that fundamentally to me is not him being ashamed of being white. That's him being ashamed of him being himself. And him, I don't know, he's probably gone to one of frickin' Diddy's parties and done all sorts of depraved, nasty shit with a bottle of fucking baby oil. I don't know. Let's just not go there, shall we?
Yeah, let's leave let's leave that for another day. Right, okay. So there are, in fact, this ties in quite nicely to current things that are being investigated in the UK by the British police right now. So hate incidents currently being probed by police include a child who said a classmate smelled like fish. Okay.
Have you ever been on a bus
Uh,
in the mornings?
yeah.
Some
Yeah. Okay.
people do smell like fish.
Some people do, yes. A woman likening another woman to a Rottweiler. Yeah, okay.
It's just two women being. Oh my god!
And the homophobic name Leonard.
What?
Yeah.
How is Leonard a homophobic name?
I have no freaking idea, mate. I have no idea.
I mean, one of my. I've got a family friend
Who's
who's
gay?
called. A friend of my parents called Leonard. He's not gay at all. He's
Oh,
been
sorry.
married for like 50 or 60 freaking years or something.
Yeah.
No, not gay. It was about as.
Oh, I thought you were going to make the point. I thought you were going to make the point that his name was Leonard, but he was gay, so he couldn't possibly be
No.
homophobic. So you're just reinforcing this. So
But he's not
Leonard,
homophobic as
maybe
well.
Leonard is a homophobic. Have you ever heard anything so freaking ridiculous? The homophobic name Leonard.
It's 2024. Give me about 15 minutes on X, and I probably will have.
Right. So, and the last thing of the night that I've got is Thanksgiving was yesterday, and I firmly believe we are now living in a simulation after seeing people having Thanksgiving dinner on a New York City subway train that was in, service. They had pop-up tables set up in the middle of the carriage, and they were having Thanksgiving dinner on the train.
Well, considering all of the other things that happen on the New York subway, I think we should.
Oh, it's a
be
good thing.
encouraging-
Yeah.
I think we should be encouraging to have people to have sit-down meals on subway trains because it's much better than muggings or rapings or murderings or any of the
Oh, I
other
agree,
things that goes
I
on
agree.
in these places.
But there you go.
Um,
There you go. Oh, good grief. So I'm tired. Right. I'd like to thank everyone for coming along tonight. Remember, like, share, subscribe if you like it. Evangelize it. Get it out to more people. And if you can, the wee thing at the bottom there, kofi.com/Sergeant Grumpy. If you drop something in there, especially for Christmas, I'll be very grateful. I'll tell you how big my box was in the run up to Christmas. I'll get nothing. Anyway, I think that's us. Did you buy in the Black Friday on the Black Friday sales?
I have been spending so much money over the last. I've still got $2,000 to go. Yeah, I bought some Philips Hue lights for my lounge.
Oh, did you? So you can sit back and
will-
go. Right.
Well, now I can just tell. Yeah, I can just tell my phone to turn the lights on and off if I want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of the redecoration, I'll have burned through
Oh yeah.
probably about $6,000 by the time I
Holy
finished.
Toledo. Yeah, there's a reason why I do redecoration myself. Well, where I get the wife to do the redecoration. She does painting and wallpaper. I do structural work only. She does the decorations.
I'm useless at all of that stuff. I pay professionals to come in and do it.
Oh, I've rewired the house. I've put a full gas central heating system into a house. The only thing I didn't do was connect the gas boiler to the gas service. I've put in a loft extension.
So how is it you can't get a job and earn some money?
Well, it's not that I
Sounds like
can't.
a multi-talented individual.
I am multi-talented. I'm very talented, and the problem is, mate, right? When the business went down the tubes, I had invested a substantial amount of money into it, right? And then the pandemic hit, lockdown occurred, and basically I lost all my money that I'd invested into that business. And when I say that investment runs to, let's just say 6 figures, right? Okay. And I can't pay it back. right? So I'm sitting here with my pension and donations, which is fine, right? It's not a great amount of money coming in. If I go out and get a paying job, I'd lose it. I'd lose it all straight away, because I owe so much money. Or either that or go bankrupt. So I've really got to work for myself, and this kind of, well, yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a complete nightmare because it's not funny going for. Yeah, I mean, you probably earn a reasonable amount, and you've got a good standard of living. And we had a 4-bedroom house on half an acre of land. We had a Ford Ranger pickup truck. I had a top of the range Harley Davidson motorcycle. I had an electric car, and we had all that. My wife had a horse. We freaking were fully middle class. I worked for the police for a while as a contractor. I worked for financial services as a contractor. I've worked for multinational companies as a contractor. So, but unfortunately, what I thought I was investing in, which was going to be my retirement fund, i.e. the gyms, just completely crashed and burned as soon as... And they were doing really well. They were doing really well. They were building up. And then March 2020, we opened in May 2019. Could you have picked a worse time to open a gym? Because no sooner had we got to the point where we're starting to turn a profit, then bang, everything's shut down. Yeah, Fluffy Columbus is in the same situation.
And it was all
for nothing.
Yeah.
It really was. And you could be sorry. I mean, you could be really bitter. You could be really bitter and hate everybody, but all I can do is do what I do, and I really, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. I'm really enjoying making videos and films and speaking to people, even though sometimes I don't like them. No, I love you. I love you all, even the haters. But yeah, no, but I really...
He can't help himself.
Yeah, I know, I can't. I love this. I really like doing this. And it's good. And you're working for yourself, The wife's trying to start a bakery up now, so but she's at college as well, so she's enjoying that as well. So that gives her some opportunities. But it's a nightmare situation to go from where we were. I mean, we used to go on three holidays a year. We would go to New York, we'd go to Florida. I mean, my honeymoon was the 6-night transatlantic crossing on the Queen Mary 2, and not in the fucking cheap seats, in the suite, with a balcony and everything, I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous.
Can go from, sure. I mean, the fact that your relationship can go from that to having nothing and survive, that speaks volumes to the quality of the relationship.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I know. But there we go, people. That's my life in a nutshell at the moment. But could maybe win the lottery tomorrow, and then other than that, I can't
give it all to creditors, and maybe you'd be free of them.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, at least then you'd be free. You know what I mean? But yeah, I
Sure.
There's a lot of things I can do. I mean, like when the guy across the road, he was wanting doors put in his office, and I put his double glazed doors on, and I did it for store credit. So I put the double glazed doors in, fitted them all in for him and everything, and I did it for store credit in his garage. So I've had my car fixed 3 times now, and not had to put my hand in my pocket.
Amazing.
Yeah, so stuff like that. But yeah, and I've done like photo shoots for, how people love their cars. I've done photo shoots for people, and so they put their stuff on, really top notch pictures of stuff, and they put their stuff on Instagram and stuff like that. So yeah, I just try and
Doing it.
make something where I can. Cash is king, as they say. But yeah.
As is barter.
Yeah, Bartle's good as well, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Anyway, there we go. Robin says a solid gold meteorite could fall on me. Yeah, that would be great, Robin. That would kill you, wouldn't it, if a meteorite fell on you? Thanks, mate. But cheers. That's like Alanis Morinette's song, you know, an old man won the lottery, died the next day. Isn't that? Well, actually, that's not ironic. Nothing in her song is actually ironic. That's the ironic thing about that song. But yeah. But it's been good. It's been good to have you back, Ed. Been good. It gets lonely without you.
Mate.
And yeah, and you know,
Bless.
but Ben wants to jump in tonight, and like he saw me last week struggling on my own, but no, just get on with it, John. You know, just do it yourself. But now he wants to jump in. He's just a glory hound. That's all he is. But anyway,
I'm just not even going to go there.
no, don't. But I love you all, and it's been great for you.
This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. The Christmas tree's on fire. Santa's holding the lighter. My parents are both liars. I got gifts but one subscribers. Thanks for the candy basket. Oh, got another jacket. My stocking's filled with acid. Am I dreaming? What just happened? This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. My neighbors compete to see who can put up more blinding lights. The kids all wish away the month 'cause they want presents in sight. This year had me so mad. I've been bad, got coal that is sitting under my tree. I think that my Christmas has died. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. When I was just a boy, Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am. But right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song. This is not a Christmas. This is not a Christmas song.
Which one of you did that?